Welcome back to Mountain Monsters Chat.
What's happening, everybody? Good morning to everyone out there in the world. Good morning to all those Bigfeets. If you're watching, Mr. Sasquatch, I don't know which, because there's multiple big feet.
You mean, are you talking about the Ahaya Grassman?
Is he the one with lightning powers? Because that blows my mind.
No, that's the Lightning Man.
That's Lightning Man. Different big feet.
I thought there's a whole I thought they established that Bigfoot is like a genus unto itself.
Yes, there's the Raven Mocker, which may or may not be able to warg into ravens.
I love that. I love that stuff.
God damn it. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves? I'm sure everybody knows, but I mean,
hey,
we went off the rails so early.
Yeah,
it's me, Creative Colin. You know me.
I thought you were gonna say it's a me, it's a Mario.
It's a me, a Mario. It's a me, a Donna Scopino. You might have caught me. Hopefully, you weren't introduced to me over last weekend's Extra Life because I feel like I traumatized a bunch of people with my games. I was really tired, and I was just going. There was a Mothman love scene in one of my sessions. It got weird, and I apologize. And
I feel like I set the tone early for weird, though.
Yeah, that's what everyone was saying. They're like, Colin, are you trying to top Ben? And I'm like, wait, what went on? They're like,
what did you do?
Oh, it was there was some wildness happening, man. But yeah. So hi, I'm Colin.
Hello, skis.
I'm Matt. I am an expert tracker. I will not track anything.
You're a caller. You're also an expert caller. A baller, a shot caller. New money, Matt.
Yeah.
Matthew, did you find a suitable head for your?
I got so sidetracked with shit.
Oh, sidetracks. What?
I got up yesterday really early because I was gonna pop on Dave's marathon stream, which didn't start until the evening yesterday. So I was confused about what day it started, and then I also had to get up early to take Danny over to her brother's because she was going out of town for the weekend. So, and then I got up early again today to actually go on the stream. So I'm a little
discombobulated.
So yeah, yesterday I kind of wandered around both before and after the walk, and then and I got home. I'm just like, I'm just gonna play Spider-Man for a while.
And you could have hang out. Squatch Dog his own self, and I watched finish the first season of Mountain Monsters.
I saw that you guys were watching that.
I would have straight up fallen asleep probably. Because I've seen all of those episodes too.
Oh yeah,
you could have been our own personal guide. Doug drank SodaStream for the first time, and I was like, "What do you think?" He's like, "Gonna have to buy this." I was like, "Nice." He's like, "Yeah, 45 calories for this giant bottle of pop. Normally it'd be like 270 calories. I think I'm gonna have to own this." Solid. Also, we Doug decided that Mountain Monsters viewing must come with a bingo game. The free middle square is the fact that every episode someone calls the monster a son of a bitch.
I would think the free square would be that it's personal.
It's not. Second episode, no one ever says that it's personal.
But I think that might be the only exception.
Yeah. And it's implied other times. And then you get to like episode 5, and in the opening montage, the second thing shown is someone goes, "Now it's personal." And I was like, "Oh shit, now we're into the meat and potatoes of things."
No, Danny and I just finished up season 2.
What are you going to do when this is over, Matt?
I don't know. We'll find something. But it's
a void in your life.
It was a longer season. Well, we still are working back through season 1 of 30 coins to start on season 2.
Yeah, I got to get back on 30 coins.
But
we've been back to watching Awful Squad, even though we've watched.
I mean, it's
like 7
times. We'll knock out a couple, 30 coins in a night, but you have to, it's subtitled, so we got to watch.
You got to pay attention.
30 mountain monsters. Now I just almost created a mashup of 30 coins and mountain monsters. By misspeaking there, but
it's called 30 mountain monster coins.
I'm just it's gonna be because they talk about this on the Bigfeets podcast. It's like how they're always talking about, oh, it's nice this one's close. Like, they're always close, but they're also adventures of theirs that we don't, they refer to things that we haven't seen.
Like they've been doing this for 8 years.
Right, but they don't.
This is the first time they tracked an aquatic monster.
Yeah, they've apparently never, they don't learn anything from that. But I love how on the Bigfeets podcast, they're like, I remember last week when we were in Vatican City tracking Bigfoot in the Pope's wine cellar. And then the other guy was like, I would kill if they just opened an episode in space.
Yes, yes, I agree.
That almost has the feel of that Venture Brothers Return to the House, the Mummy Part 2. Where they just drop you into the middle of the episode and like Brock's finding gorilla men in Vatican City and you're like, what the fuck is happening? And then it's like the end of the episode, so stay tuned for Return to the House, the Mummy Part 3. We never see Part 1. We never see anything else about it.
Right.
But it's just great. Like, what the fuck are we seeing?
I wish there was
Edgar Poe in a headlock.
I wish there was more of that in this. In Mountain Monsters, that would be like one of the critiques I have. Is because it is what it is. Like if you can't enjoy it for what they're presenting, then go somewhere else. But
I do agree with that.
They do talk about how they've done this in the past, even though of the cast, I think it was Trapper Jeff and Willie have been friends for like 20, 30 years. And Wild Bill and Buck and Huckleberry were all brought in for the show.
Really?
Can you imagine Wild Bill being brought in out of nowhere?
Yeah, that's
not knowing that guy for your entire life and just
Well, I wonder if that's why they kind of like. He must have clicked with Willie or something because it's like Willie has got to deal with him all the time.
Yeah, he's his minder, like
bro. He's like he. We were talking about this yesterday. It's like listening to a bad Bruiser Brody promo.
And
nonstop. Oh my god!
On Bigfeets, when they allude to the possibility of some substance being present with him, I've just working in like mental health. I did it for like a decade, and there's some like definite ticks he's got that I'm like, oh shit, he's
when I can't remember if it was Willie or I think it was Willie. It's like, oh, Bill's energy is just way up here.
Yeah. Bill's always like right here. I'm like, it's either the PTSD, the head trauma from falling off of things, or all the fucking bath salts.
Yeah,
it's all of it. But I do kind of wish that they had a little more, wherewithal to be like, oh, this is like the time that we fought the such and such and the such and such, and they get into that like in later seasons a little bit because some of the monsters come back and shit.
Wouldn't you enjoy it if they pulled a wrestling organization I'm not going to give any credit to, where they like skip the whole season, but they refer back to that season constantly? Like, this shit happened, but none of you got to see it.
Ooh.
I mean, that'd be but I don't have faith in any of them to actually be able to keep any of that straight.
That's part of the fun, though, that they can't keep it straight.
Oh yeah, but I think if you were going to do something like that,
I heard he'd been tearing apart cars. Oh, Jeffrey! Oh, come on, Jeff! And then later on, Trapper, that motherfucker who shamed him in the car, and Jeff looks butthurt. Jeff looks like legitimately like, how dare
Jeff's
you?
Jeff's always getting the short end of the improv stick.
How dare you Jeff me in the car in front of these two? Later on, Trapper's like, yeah, I heard it been turn up a car.
Yeah.
I heard it turn up a car. And you can see Jeff in the background go, thank you. Thank you.
Well, yeah.
Hold on a second. I got to get rid of this sweatshirt because I went from freezing my ass off to because I'm just racing thoughts boy today. I'm just like feel like I'm on fire. So hold on.
Go for it. One of the best things I think though is still the Jeff centric stuff is the whole, I think it's the Kentucky Hellhound where he keeps on trying to get everyone to say how it's blue. And like right off the bat, Buck's like, wow, how hasn't he been seen? Like just immediately putting like water on the flames. It's just like, come on.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like if I get them wanting to keep their real lives separate from the show.
Yeah.
Especially given that, like, the Finding Bigfoot guys were like pissed at them.
Fuck those
That's
guys.
amazing.
But you would think, like, so if Jeff owns an antique store, like, let them freaking shoot there.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, this is like and I'm sure that's probably where they get all their weird shit. You know, like all the bones and stuff is probably just from Jeff's antique store.
Make him the Ray Stans of their little Ghostbusters.
Yeah, you could. I mean, it would like. So I don't want to spoil too much, but in season 2 we do get It is billed in the Chiron as Trapper's Bigfoot Cave, and he has like he
has a bat cave.
He has a bunker. Yeah, he's got like a bunker with all the big, and it's hilarious.
That's right. Yeah.
Because
and also, like, doesn't that eventually builds off to him being the man in the chair because he literally can't get out of a chair.
Right. But it's hilarious because they use, like, he's got pictures on the wall of all the Bigfoot feet they've hunted, and it's literally just the renders from the show, but like turned into like like a glamour shot style picture with a background. So they're printed out and hung up. And it's just
all that PlayStation 1 pixel art.
It's the freaking the Midnight Whistler, just like.
All right, so if we need, and I talked to Doug about this, we need to set up a Spoopy Boys thing that we do occasionally where it's just Mountain Monsters chat for like an hour.
I could do that.
Where we can all get together and just talk Mountain Monsters. It'll be another part of our ever-broadening set series of Spoopy Boys, including the Nashi Boys, which Beard promised he would get those 2 songs done this weekend.
I do not see that happening, but
Nashi Boys, we want to be the Nashi Boys. All right, anyway. So first things first, any feedback from Extra Life? I don't think, Colin, did you play in anything I ran? I didn't play in anything this year.
No, I missed out on playing anything you did.
Okay. How did your games go?
All weekend, but I kept my load pretty light.
I felt like my games went pretty well. It seemed like with viewers, at least, we never really dipped below like 5 or so. So nice. I'll take that as a little win. Yeah, like, I don't know, chat was active on them for the most part. On a few of the things I did, I saw names pop up of people I hadn't seen before. That was nice. It was good.
How'd your games go? Like, how did you get any feedback from people who played in your games?
I think everyone was just like, fun time is always kind of a deal. I don't know. I didn't get any like really constructive criticism on anything like that, or any like major like yays or nays, just like that was weird but also very fun. So that's where I'm at with my game feedback for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, my experience was similar. I ran 2 games and played in 1. Normally I would have done more than that, but I guess I did Zomboid for a while too. I would say the big thing that, and I get it, everybody's got stuff going on, and there was a lot kind of up in the air this year with who was doing what. But it was like, I feel like the earlier the stuff gets established, the better stuff tends to go, or the more interest stuff tends to get. And it just seemed to me like the schedules and games and stuff didn't really get pinned down until pretty close to the weekend. And that's always kind of, it's like, well, it didn't seem like there was enough time to really like, adjust stuff, or it's like, because in the past it's like, oh yeah, I'd like to play in this, but I'm running out of time, can we move stuff around? And this year it's like, oh no, I didn't feel like there was time to really negotiate that kind of stuff. But it is what it is. you know, and thank you so much to James for you know, jumping in front of that bullet and getting all that work done and running everything. It was amazing, especially as kind of a like, you know, Hail Mary sort of like, oh, normally, you know, other people kind of take on some of that, and he had to kind of bear the whole weight, plus, you know, the rest of his life on top of it. And I know that's been a little bit busy lately with work and stuff. So
I did get James
a
gift from all of us. I got him a customized YT 1300 for a texting game. It was supposed to be here yesterday, but it's not here yet. It looked really cool. I was like, I'm gonna get him this shit.
Hell yeah!
And it did not cost $80 because a lot of them do. I was like, fuck me. I was like, I love you, buddy, but I'm not spending $80 on a thank you gift.
Well, I mean, you could reach out to us, man.
I know, like, everybody's got their own shit going on. So one of those things I like to try to do stuff like that, and if I can float it, I do. I will say, this time of year is rough because it's like,
well, you're
Cassandra's birthday.
Yeah, you're a gift boy.
My mom 2 birthday, and then Christmas, and I'm like, fuck me, for real. Can we spread this shit out just a little? Oh, and then anniversary. So anyway, so I sent out emails asking for feedback, and I got some back.
And I was going to reply to your message today, but here we go. We're talking it over now. So,
I think there's one thing I would like to get feedback on, but I haven't heard anything from anybody who played in that. Exactly. I don't think I've asked the question definitively. Was for my D&D game, about what point did they figure out the twist that the horseman was not the domain lord? Because it felt like 2 different PCs who were in different places at the same time both figured it out, like at the same time, which was cool. Where they were like, "Oh shit." Perhaps we have made a slight error. I also heard from a lot of people, and I agreed with them, that game felt like it should have been more.
Like a series?
I jokingly said, no, not really jokingly, said afterwards to Cassandra, that should have been 16 hours. I could have drugged that into 4-hour sessions.
Yeah.
Because the characters got very into interacting with people, with each other, and then also kind of exploring what led them to Ravenloft, or excuse me, Domains of Dread. And I think the Ryan, especially Warrior, got back to me and was like, yeah, that's one of those cases where I was like, oh man, I wish this was a lot longer.
And that can be I will say, I mean, and that's, it's a tough thing in general, but it's as somebody who's not an experienced, GM, getting the pacing right for the time slots is difficult.
Dude. I just speaking.
I don't want to railroad players, but you do kind of hit that point where it's like, well, no, I got to wrap this up.
The We Deal in Lead game, I was not cognizant of the time, and I only got through what I'd say is the first third of the game.
Oh wow.
It was just like, oh, okay. Because also Beard messaged me like, hey, we're gonna wrap up at 11:55 or whatever. It's like, oh, okay, that's
yeah.
Oh no.
It's not even like the because you want to hit the story structure, the beats. You want to have all that, and it's like I definitely with my Spirit of 77 game, it's like, oh nope, shit, I'm just gonna have to get us to the end here.
It's the art of editing on the fly.
And
it's hard to do because you might have sat down and been like beat, and then one of the players says some stuff where you're like, oh shit, now I've got an entire extra thing I can put in here, and then you realize exact better or than what I already had. Or they may like find something that they're like just taking something that was just supposed to be like a transition, and then they're breathing like all this life into it, and you're like, well, I don't want to cut them off.
That yeah,
sorry, Mike.
Tales from the Loop is definitely like that for me. Like whenever I'm playing those games, the littlest thing can become just such a huge story beat from whatever the players give that, like, yeah, I hate to shut them down at all, and it always takes the story in such weird ways.
I have found that part of you really utilizing that lazy DM structure is like I try to keep it like, you know, the beats are so big and broad that it's just like, okay, well, how much are they going to be able to fill in, and how much work am I going to have to do to fill in if they're just kind of like bumps on a log at that time, which does happen as well, where they're just like, spoon feed me the story, daddy.
Yeah.
So I think that's something, you know, maybe as a group continuing to discuss trial and error, and look at tools that can help us be better game facilitators. Perfect.
Hey.
All right. So, any other wrap up thoughts? I thought Beard was going to join us, but he was also like, "Hey, my internet's being a pain in the behind," or as Trapper would say, "It's being a son of a bitch."
Real son of a bitch. Put a little ass into it, James.
And now it's personal.
Yeah, I don't know if it'd be worth it for some of the things, and I think it really will depend on the system and the game. But there are way too many places to go for vital information. And I get that some of that was probably the result of the scramble to get everything ready to go in time. But I think just picking like everything you need is going to be here. And it does not exist anywhere else. And that's going to have to be something that's going to need to be established and agreed upon with, you know, anybody who wants to be involved early on. Like I feel like it's fine for people to say, "Hey, I want to play in this," or "I'd like to be involved in Extra Life this year." Cool. Now you go here. And everything is there, because the way it's run, I get, you know, we're trying to make it work on the fly. It's a lot of just, oh, that was in the Discord, or oh, that's in the messenger group, or that was here, or you know, and I don't know what the best solution is for that, but it does feel like it's kind of a failure point in terms of keeping everything on pace. And maybe there just needs to be less stuff. So there isn't that kind of juggling of slots and people and like, oh no, I got to finish this game because I got to go over to this game right now. You know, I don't know how that works, but
so one thing I want to point out, Beard and I kind of talked about it. We like, I'm not the person, since I'm not tooting my own horn, but generally I do as much or more stuff than anybody on these. I end up running more games, or this year it was more just like, hey, I'm just doing all these goddamn streams.
Yeah, you were holding it down and filling slots for sure.
So I don't generally get involved in the organizational stuff, because what ends up happening is I disagree with somebody, and because I'm such a strong personality, and I push back on everything because I don't have a good sense of social mores, I will just turn everything into argument. Either I'm like, oh fuck, that sounds awesome, that's perfect, or I'll be like, I don't like that. Why don't you like it? I just don't think it's going to work. Well, why is it not going to work? Because A, B, and C. And the other person's like, well, it will work because of A, B, and C. And I'll just like, and then I'll just do this. I don't see it. And then it takes me 3-4 days before I can wrap my head around it and go, oh shit, yeah, you're right, I was wrong.
I respect your opinion, but you're wrong.
Yeah. And I have a tendency to do that in like organizational structure. And I recognize it, so I try really hard to be like, this is supposed to be fun, and I'm not going to make it a slog just because I've got a personality quirk. So we discussed previously that roles should be assigned or volunteered for.
Mm-hmm.
And then those roles should be like absolute.
Yeah.
So if someone's like, hey, I'll do this, it's not a committee doing it. It's, you know, where you have one person who's, we'll put it here. If someone's like, hey, we're going to put this in Discord, it should be that person's responsibility then to disseminate, like, hey, if you want to do Extra Life 2024, this is where you need to go to sign up.
Yeah, this is,
and if you don't, you know, they need to, like, Discord is like, should be someone's job. And then that should be their only job. We should not be giving someone like 4 things to do. Even if they want, like, I'll do 4 things. Fuck you. You're going to do one thing. You're going to do extremely well.
Yeah.
It's not fair to you, especially if you're like me and there's the potential for like a health issue to occur and it's going to fuck everything up.
Or even just, I'm going to volunteer to do this thing, but I also want to be able to run a game or play in a game.
And that I understand. Yeah. Playing and running, I think, is its own separate beast.
Well, right. But I mean, to say I'm going to play in a game and run in a game and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And then also I'm responsible for this one thing that kind of keeps the whole thing moving.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a lot to have more than one like primary responsibility on you and still actually be able to engage with the streams and the games. Because it definitely, I mean, again, my God, James did the work, but you could feel the scatter shot sort of like,
I know his shit that still didn't get done, and he'll tell you.
Like, I'm gonna play in this game, but I gotta go start this other stream for somebody, and then I can go over there, and I gotta eat dinner. But it's just like, that's too much. It's too much, and I don't know if, and maybe some of that stuff needs to be, broken up into shifts or something. I don't know.
I think it boils down to having, and day 2 or full day 1, I started taking over like some of, like, hey, this is, if it's on my StreamYard, I'll set it up for you. Just got to send me the information. Oh, he's got Christmas pigs.
Yeah.
Can look good. That we'll need to like divide that labor up, because I think there was also some confusion just about StreamYard in general.
Yeah.
So, and that happens too. We have a couple people that use, couple different people, groups of people too, use the StreamYard account. And I know James just does one for Extra Life every year and then shuts it back down. We've got the one that I keep running all year round, in figuring out like how to do that. The other thing I would say from my perspective too is just like, hey, I love doing Spoopy Boys, but because I take psychotropic medication twice a day minimum, and I take 2 different sleep meds, when I have to take that med at 2:30 in the morning and be up to do something with my brain by 8 a.m., I'm a fucking mess.
Yeah.
So I was thinking a little bit about this. Maybe next year we can do like the watch along earlier.
Yeah.
And we could do something like watch something super kid friendly, like maybe one of the Scooby-Doo's like Zombie Islands or something. And we could try to figure that out. We could try to figure out Spoopy Boys a little bit different, because I love, and I think he hit it right on the head of doing Spoopy Boy shit like in later at night. But I know that fucked me up for a couple days after.
Yeah.
And it didn't help. I just got a new heavy increase in the medication, so that fucked me up too. But it was hard to be functional, and it's been hard to be functional all week.
For some of that stuff, I get that somebody needs to, start it, and you want to make sure that you're still soliciting donations and all that. But does it make sense for us to do pre-recorded stuff?
It doesn't hurt. It's not a bad idea, actually.
I'm always down with that.
I think if we do that, we need to make it abundantly clear that it's,
Oh yeah, you could. Because
we have folks like the beautiful person in chat right now, Super Spike, who like sticks with it the whole time. He's basically he's basically our
man on the street.
Man on the streets. He's the ghost with the most, and he's always here, always watching, always judging. Look at the baby. Look at the baby.
Yeah, that's that. I mean, that's the big thing you lose is that interaction. When you do something like that.
Yeah, that would be
So I don't. Yeah, that's. I mean, that's. But I'm throwing it out there as like a.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, one thing I would like to try to do in this next year is just get more games in the can. Get more miniseries and things like that in the can. I think I said this the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of it just ends up being not enough time. But trying to find like people who have some availability to do like, hey, we're going to do a one shot. And it's going to be Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. We're going to run something simple. It's going to be a one shot. Because, I mean, so reaching back behind the curtain, there was a point where Boonsky, back in the day when we were all close with him, he had a bad breakup. And he was really upset. And what did we do? We all got together as like three of us. I think it was Nate, James, and I. And we're like, we should do something nice. So what do you want to do? Let's run D&D for like the entirety of a Saturday. He had no idea. They're like, hey, you got anything going on today? And he was like, no, I'm not wrestling this weekend. I'm just gonna like chill out at home. And they're like, no, you're not. You're gonna go to Ben's house. We're gonna play D&D all weekend. And we got through like I ran like a vampire like thing, and we played for like 8 hours. And I look back on that going, I just threw that together literally with like 6 hours notice. And Cassandra played. We had a couple other people. We ended up having like 7 players, and we just played, and we had real fun. It was very much spur of the moment. I think I used a terrain crate like adventure as the backbone. And I'd like to do more of that and record it and use it as like just record it and not release it, and use those as things that we can just drop at any time we so choose. I know we were doing that a little bit with Star Wars. Like James was doing a lot of post-production stuff where we were recording them, and James was going in and putting all this crazy cool shit in there. And I know one thing about Beard is Beard's time went from Beard having time where, and I love you, James, don't take this personally, where James like every day would be like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And I'd be like, sometimes I was like, I don't want to see you.
Yeah.
I don't want to see anybody, James. To like, you have to carve out times that he has available, because James married someone, and I think, as we all know, marriage is a fucking commitment. And it's a partnership, and you got to be there. But James also has a daughter now, and that is like tenfold. Like, Colin, I don't know how you do it. Matt, you got 3 cats. I don't know how you do it. I got nothing. So, I mean, and I'm lucky because Cassandra, if I do like, hey, I'm going to run D&D, Cassandra will be like, well, there's room at the table, right?
Right.
It's not one of those things where she's like, well, good, fuck you, bye. I'm going to go do something else. Because I don't like that shit, and I'm going to go, I'm going to go do this. It's like, something like Minecraft. Oh, you're going to play some Minecraft? Well, I would love to play Minecraft with you, Ben, but I have my own Minecraft business to take care of on my stuff right now. Maybe I'll get over there when I have a moment. But like I have it easy like that. And so I think doing some of those things, maybe once every couple months, like planning ahead and saying, okay, what do we want to do? Like what, and can we all agree or even put out feelers to other people like Richard and Shannon? As frustrated as I am with Boone, I would be willing to say, well, do you reach out to Boone and go, hey man, do you want to play D&D like online for like 6 hours? So speaking of Minecraft really quick, I am using my 3rd realms. So you have 3 slots if you have a realms, and I'm just going into creative mode and I'm just building shit. That is going to be where the either a special stream or Extra Life 2024 Minecraft is going to be played. I'm building like ruins. I'm building like, I just built an underground village full of villagers that you'll only be able to identify if you get close enough to hear. I'm building all kinds of shit. So I'm just going to go around the entirety of the world and just drop stuff in. And so it's going to be more like, oh, you can build during this Minecraft session, or you can just go explore all the weird shit I put in here. So that's kind of, I want to be able to do stuff like that because I feel like that's something I can do and can build something fun for other people to stick their fingers in once they're ready. That was a terrible analogy. But so one thing I kind of want to put out to you and to Spike and anyone who watches this in the future, what are some games that you would like to see us play? I mean, what are some things where you're like I would love to do Dread, but that would require us all be in the same place at the same time because the randomizer in Dread is a Jenga tower.
You got it, Spike. I'll do that.
Yeah, it's fair. I would love to do like a weekend, like a long play of some video games that we just record and we just put it out later. Like doing a Zomboid thing where like 5 or 6 of us get together and we just go, we're going to go take fucking Riverside. we're just going to go in like bandits and take Riverside. But figuring out some games that we would like to do. I would like to get some of us who are close together, who I'm not really worried about like COVID stuff. Although we're also here, I'm doing more in a couple of weeks. I have to go do another platelet count and white blood cell count draw, which hopefully it'll keep going up. If it's keep going up, I'm going to feel a lot better about just going out and doing stuff.
Yeah.
But like doing Core Space, or doing Frostgrave, or something where it's like we can put a camera up and we can play on a big board, and we can do something fun. We can do Gloomhaven.
I've got it, and I've never.
Doug might be all about
I've looked
that
through the box.
Yeah, Doug has that as well, or even some Hero Quest, or some fucking Masters of the Universe board game, because I don't have like 15 boxes of that Kickstarter. I also don't have 15 boxes of Hero Quest, and I've still got some boxes of games I need to give to Matt to give to Children's. But yeah, doing some board game stuff together. I'll have to talk to Doug a little bit about setting up a camera setup because Doug would love that. But we can record it and not release it and then just put it out there at some point. X-Wing. James would lose it if we could all get together.
Yeah, I feel like he's been chomping at the bit to
well, that would be even if the content itself is pre-recorded, I guess, for a future Extra Life. If you had something like that, it could still be a chance for, if the people who were involved with it, or some of them even, could, just hang around in the chat or something during while the thing plays.
Or we do it where we do it live, maybe on Discord.
I'd do that. I would love, just for myself, I'd love to, because I've just got fucking time to kill a lot of the time if I'm not like out doing stuff for Shift or whatever, or busy with the kids. So I've got chunks of time during the day, tons of time at night. Like I would love to like do a little video game record or something like that. I don't know if this is a cool idea. I got all those the new Lone Wolf, the like RPG, like Choose Your Own Adventure books.
Yeah, I have all the old ones.
I was thinking that would be a fun thing to maybe do an hour-long read, and like if people are in the chat, I
would keep it a little shorter than that, but
yeah?
I will use an example of that, which I thought I would hate and I absolutely loved, was Clint McElroy read Tolkien on their YouTube page. Yeah. He just read like The Hobbit. He did an episode was a chapter, and he sat in front of a fire and he just read Tolkien.
That fireplace.
It was the most relaxing shit to watch.
That's the idea. I was thinking it would be rad to like set that up and like be like Colin reads you to sleep. Could be like that, or like,
oh Dan, that's a really good idea.
And just like and whenever people watch it or whatever, but like just put on like the most soothing voice I can, and like read like Ursula K. Le Guin, or like read like the Lone Wolf stuff, or like the Redwall books, just like wonderful, fantastical, fun things. And like you want to put it on the background, throw it on the background. You want to like Yeah, I don't know, just something a little out of the box too, but could also be fun for people. I don't know.
I like that idea a lot.
I think there could be, I don't know, it doesn't have to be me. We could like switch it off if someone else is like, oh, there's these books I love. I would love to maybe like put my whatever out there and read them. I don't know, Oh no. Wild Maeve.
Hey, I'm trying to get.
Hi, Maeve.
The cat's trying to get in there.
Cats are trying to get in where?
All right, so if you guys see stuff that I'm putting in,
Yeah.
that you want changed or added to, please say so. I'm gonna blow up a little bit more.
Just the cats will be fine out there. Maeve, the cats will be fine.
Mom says no.
Then hold on. This is Operation 911.
What you gotta do, man. It's all good.
But I think these are all like really good ideas.
Oh yeah.
That we could do, and I think we could do them like, hey, we're only going to do this shit like this every 2 months. So asking for that time every 2 months, I think is pretty manageable.
He's sleeping. You have to donate every hour. He's gonna. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So one of my my George Lucas set game I think was a big hit. People were. It got weird.
I will also say that one of the best compliments I got from two people regarding Star Wars.
Yeah.
Warrior was like, hey, I don't know much about like the Star Wars lore. That's really not a fandom of mine, but I thoroughly enjoyed the fact that even though you laid out the time period and that something was going to happen, the game was so involving that I forgot.
Yeah.
And Beard was the same way. Beard was like, I knew Order 66 was a part of the game. And then when it happened, I was still like, oh no, what is happening? And I was like, okay, then that served its purpose. Yeah. I don't know how you felt about it, Matt, but
I mean, I've been involved a little bit with your prep, so it didn't catch me quite as off guard. And I was just looking at the clock a little bit, and it's like, yeah,
you're like, he's running up against it. How the fuck is he going to do that?
Right.
So I think these are interesting like ideas to bring up and just ship over to Beard. I'm gonna put a thing. These off stream recorded things could be done every 2 months, giving
no Super Spike. I was not prepared for anyone to follow Carrie Fisher down
to decide if they want to participate.
But if they did, they would have. I was ready with some mole men.
And
could have found
that. Arrange.
Because it seemed like Warrior really wanted to go follow her.
Warrior wrote me a thing when he was like, playing games like that make me miss playing games.
Yeah.
Where he's like, the 3 games I played and really made me. I also got 2 compliments. Warrior and Beard both said these are the best 3 games we've run in a weekend. And I agree. Usually I'm very hard on myself on these things, but these are the best 3 games I've run back to back, like maybe ever. I have very little complaints about any of it. Some very tiny things that I would go back and fix, but overall, I felt like these were these were at worst B+ games, at best, A games, which I do not ever say. So I was very happy with that. That's probably one reason why my imagination's fucking stomped on the gas here of late. But god damn it.
Yeah. I was bummed.
Get down that
didn't make it, man. I had a lot of stuff set up just to fuck with him.
Fair.
Oh man, I was so bummed out. Like Peter Weller was going to show up again, and I'm just creating this amazing lore around Peter Weller and James's characters in my Tales from the Loop games that he legitimately gets frustrated. You can see it. Whenever
He does.
It's so fun. It's so fun.
All right, so we can keep adding to that above if we want. A couple things. I don't know what everybody's out is today, but we'll just touch upon these if it's a hard out.
I definitely have a little bit more time, but I'm still fairly fried, so I might just go lay down at some point here. I do, before we get into this new stuff, I wanna pop this up on the screen here. I showed it off on Dave's stream earlier, but I know you guys will appreciate it. You might want to full screen me just so you guys can enjoy it.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. All right, so
why is it not full? Hold on.
Well, this is fine. You can see it up here.
I need a full screen, you Matt.
Is that what I think it's going to be?
I always have so many problems getting this to work. Hey, StreamYard.
You're so fine. You're so fine. You blow my mind. Hey, StreamYard.
There we go.
All right, so here we go.
Oh, is this the thing?
Please. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Tongue is bendy.
No
so
way.
That. And this comes off too. So there's that. All right.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's all articulated. Because, you know. And then in the same box.
God, that's cool.
And this
that's
is all
sick.
That's all articulated. The head
that's
goes around.
incredible.
There's a ton of swappable parts and articulated jaw. This is bendy. I mean,
that's incredible, man.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, super cool. Anyway, so that's my thing. You all seeing my thing now.
Yeah. It was glorious.
That's fair.
Oh, all right. Ben is coming up with new and exciting variations on our layout here. Hey, that works.
Hey.
I actually like that better than how we usually do it with
I do too, actually.
side.
This is
It's
nice.
easier to see.
So two things I know that are one thing I've been just like on my shit about, and one that we've all been like, ooh. So I just finished. If you read this book, if you're reading this book, you're in the wrong dimension.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is the third. I finished the third book in the day.
Isn't it John does at the end spiders and then that one?
There's a fourth one too. I just started the fourth one.
If you're reading this book, you're in the wrong.
That might be the fourth one.
And then the newest one that just came out in October is Zoe is Too Drunk for This Dystopia.
Yeah, there's a couple Zoe books as well. Let me see what I'll quickly find it. So John dies at the end. This book is full of spiders. Seriously, It's full of spiders. If this book exists, you're in the wrong universe.
That's okay.
Is the fourth book. What the hell did I just read? I think is the third book.
Okay.
So I've also I'm a big fan of the Laundry Files books, which I can never remember his name, which is sad because he also wrote some Dungeons and Dragons stuff. Charlie Strauss.
Okay.
He's actually the person who's responsible for the Githyanki.
Oh, nice.
So the Laundry Files is like slacker hacker James Bond meets Cthulhu mythos, where we figure out that the British government has an entire wing of intelligence that just deals with entities outside of our reality, and they do so through math and technology.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the people who get recruited because they accidentally stumble across this. And our primary character, who was a black hat hacker and a real, like almost an anarchist, accidentally opens a hole, and they get there in time to save him. and they basically forcibly recruit him. And the books are like his rise through the bureaucracy. And the fact that most countries have an organization like this. The British one is called the Laundry. The American one is called the Black Chamber, and that they do not all work in conjunction at all. And there's a lot of like crazy bond like things like equipment and stuff, but it's mainly to do with like, you know, your phone is also a elder sign type of shit. They're really fun. And they're really good. But and of course, I love The Darkest of the Hillside Thickets, which is a Vancouver-based, I don't know what I would call them as far as what their style of music is. But they write almost exclusively about weird Lovecraftian shit. I mean, I guess maybe pop punk is what you could call them. But they also do like full concept albums. Like they did one called Spaceship Zero, which is about a 1970s German sci-fi show that never existed. They did one called The Shadow Out of Tim, which is basically the Call of Cthulhu in album form, and it's fucking great. And then occasionally they'll throw in things like on Spaceship Zero, there's a song that's entirely in German, except for the last 3 lines. On Shadow Out of Tim, there's an appendix song that is in Farsi about Nyarlathotep. I don't even know what the words mean. The only word I do know is Nyarlathotep, which they do repeat. So originally I was like, I kind of want to run Call of Cthulhu. But I also feel like Call of Cthulhu's threshold for entry is kind of high. Because it's like, here is 100+ skills.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's a D100 system. So you have percentiles in all these skills. And it's just, it's a lot. And
yeah,
it's a very investigative based game where it's like, you know, most of the game is you investigating, because in all honesty, unless you're playing something like Pulp Cthulhu, if you run into an actual monster, you're fucking dead.
Yeah.
You're a mincemeat, or you're completely insane. And for some folks, that's great. They're like, I love that tension. And for other folks who are like, well, this, like me, I'm like, well, if I can't punch something, I'm going to be kind of frustrated eventually. Because I there's a futility in that game that's kind of a feature, not a bug, where I'm like, I think it's cool, but I also don't want to.
I don't need that. Yeah,
I have that every day of my life.
Yeah, I've got a job.
Yeah. So trying to figure out a game that would get a little bit of that vibe. I also really am fascinated by the idea of Delta Green, which is a more modern Cthulhu setting, where you work for like a government agency where they send shit out, but it's also the very same as Call of Cthulhu. You are probably going to fucking die horribly. And I'm kind of like, well, if I want to do a governmental agency thing, I'll just run Hellboy.
Yeah.
So thinking about it, I also, after running Rotten Odds and seeing how open something can be, and how when people play real people, but they play them more on the spectrum of being not the best sort of people. Because if you've read John Dies at the End or any of the books with David and John as the lead characters, John and David are kind of slacker pieces of shit. I mean, John's a straight up addict of multiple drugs. And Dave's is a depressed person. He has clinical depression. He's always kind of one step away from just being like, fuck it, I'll just die, whatever. And I also say, see the movie. I know it's not exactly the book, but Don Coscarelli's movie is also very good.
Yeah.
I wanted something that you could kind of have that ingrained humor. And I love the idea. Someone explained that it's not that John and Dave are not scared, or, you know, they're not insane from seeing the things that they see. It's just that they're either too high, too depressed, or have seen so much shit now that it doesn't bother them anymore. So they're kind of like, oh, that's a a bipedal form made out of meat trying to kill me. Oh, okay, I guess.
I guess it's Wednesday again.
Yeah, I guess. You know, so it's kind of like, I like that idea, and that the fact that they got their special abilities by taking a drug. I also kind of like that as well. So, I found a game that I had in the giant file of other games called Summer in Woodlake, and Summer in Woodlake is PBTA. So I knew Matt would be down with it. So that seems to be your chosen engine.
And I like that it's story driven.
Yeah, and it's just crunchy enough.
Because when you tell me like, oh yeah, there's 100 different skills, I'm like, no, fuck that. I don't want to run that. I don't want to play in that.
It's too much. I found that like old me would have loved that, and I did love Call of Cthulhu, and I loved Pendragon and all those basic role playing system games, because like if you have a handle on the system, it's not difficult. But the breach point for entry is so high.
Yeah, that's like
oh, Jesus.
Like if
I'm an adult.
If you don't get into that kind of stuff when you're in high school or college and have a ton of free time to like engage with it, like it just like if I'm gonna invest the time in something like that, I'll go learn a language.
Yeah,
you know, or
Fast Rip. I love Fast Rip, which is the TSR Marvel game. I love it. Those adventures are wildly cool. The game is wildly cool. I love the fact that like when you're figuring out your stats, you're doing it in comparison to actual Marvel characters. You're like, oh, I have a red tier strength, so I'm actually the same strength tier as like the Thing. Like the book is telling me that. But it's a bitch to run. And if you don't have any idea of like how those games work, you're like, this is a lot. So why would I do that when I can just find a PBTA, superhero game?
Yeah. And I mean, it's tough with some of the PBTA stuff because, when it can get into the all out of bubblegum space where it's like, okay, yeah, this is a cool story, but it also just feels like we're becoming unmoored from whatever reality there was. And that can be it's a line to walk. But yeah,
I think there has to be an agreement at the table.
Yeah.
Of like, hey, like if anyone's ever played oh god damn it, what's the name of that game? It's like a Coen Brothers movie. Fiasco. Fiasco has no dice until the very end. You're literally just doing scenes. And it requires you to like play within the space entirely, understand like these are the rules. You can't just go, well, then I pull out a gun and I start shooting. It's like, well, does that really make sense for your 5th grade kid who's seen some shit he shouldn't have seen and he's telling the cops about it? Come on.
Right.
It takes some buy-in at a level. And I think the more abstract you get, the more you need people who are willing to buy in at that level and who are more like, okay, I want to play this because I want to tell a story, this type of story. Whereas all out of bubblegum, I can see you going, well, I want to drive my monster truck through the Dalton's department store at exactly 88 miles an hour while shooting a shotgun that never runs out of shells. Then I can go, okay, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
But if you were to change that shotgun into a fucking ray gun, I'd be like, that's not the game we're playing.
Right.
Unless it was pre-established. Anyway, I think that's just like making sure that we're very good at explaining, like, this is what this is. Okay, so this is a PBTA game, and it's kind of about like, college-age kids dealing with some horror when they go home. Like in all, like the classes or the playbooks are like, guy who never left type of thing, and college freshman, younger sibling, high school graduate, college dropout are the one who never left. I think we can very easily put like slacker or there was a character in the last book I read who was like a a prepper, like a black lady who was a prepper, and well, the thing is, like, there's these parasites who basically can trick your mind into seeing things that aren't there, like including like everyone around you. They just basically build their own fiction in. So, and then she had a kid, but that kid wasn't real, and she tells him at one point that thing sitting in there, that's not my kid, because I don't have a kid. Why would I have a one night stand with someone? Do I look like someone who have a one night stand with somebody? That ain't my fucking kid. I know my heart, like my emotions, are screaming that's your child, protect it, but my brain is like, nuh-uh. And see, John and Dave, because of the soy sauce, can see it's a collection of, as they've dubbed it, shit roaches who have congealed into a person. Doomsday, not colonoscopy prepper. That's a different job. But like I think this would work really well. And the more I looked at it, and it's only like 17 pages long, so it's really, really, really well condensed down.
Yeah,
this might work for mountain monsters too.
It could. It'd be different skill sets and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, and
if we look at
it, does it? Okay, so it's got, this doesn't really seem to have like some of the PBTA games, skills that are specific to.
It does.
Classes though.
It does. So these are your bases,
right?
But then you go down here and you pick your backgrounds.
Oh,
and your background is like a more specified thing that allows you to, like, so Jeff might be like the one who never left, but you go down to background and you're like, researcher is the background. And then that background gives you your 2 special abilities. And I really like this idea of like, so I have a very, very like broad overview, like thing playbook.
Yeah.
But then I can go down here and I can pick a like something very. The background actually kind of reminds me of like backgrounds in D&D where like, oh, I'm a cleric, and then I pick a background of like urchin, like I was an urchin, and so I like get a bump in certain like abilities because that was what I was doing before I became a cleric.
Right.
That's where I'm from. That's my shit. And I think in this, it's more like these backgrounds are like the playbooks are like the large overview, and the backgrounds are more the minutia of who you are as a person. Okay. So it would require some hacking, but I think it's some easy hacking. Yeah. I mean, some of this shit might, like Weirdo, might be very easy just to drop in as is. Husky Ninja.
I feel like, not to be I think it feels like this rips a lot off of Tales from the Loop, to be honest.
It has some Tales from the Loop in it, and it also has
a little more complicated than, I don't know. Like,
it also has some Blades in the Dark in it. Like this person did a really good job of like going through games that they enjoyed and saying, why do I enjoy this, and how can I smush all this into a coherent like game that someone could pick up easily. Like I said, 17 pages, which is insane. Also, I just sent it to everybody in the chat. So this is something I think, I don't know if you guys want to take a look at it. Like I said 17 pages.
Absolutely.
But I think this could be like an easy. I mean, I look back at like Hard Times, and I'm just like, think about the number of hours we poured into that. Culling from like every single PBTA game we could find. Yes. And we got like 40 pages, I think.
It's a lot.
This person was like, I got 17 pages, and like 4 of them or 5 of them are the fucking playbook
character sheets,
which is wild.
It's a level of I mean that's
it's a good sense of editing.
Yes.
So this is my thought on Mountain Monsters game. Of course, we would want to rename these both. I like the idea of doing Mountain Monsters in episode season formats. So whoever's running it is the director.
Yes.
So we would do like, here's an episode template: real life, identify, research, scout, trap, hunt, real life. That's an episode.
Sure.
And then there's 6 episodes in a season. So you run kind of the Buffy idea of like, maybe there is a big bad, but maybe not in your season. And this would be a game where I would be like, I would encourage us, like people to run a season and then someone else run a season. So the other person could be like, I think they say all the time on Bigfeets where there's like, they must have got a note.
Yeah.
They must have got a note about this because they changed drastically on this point.
Well, yeah, or I mean, in partway through season 2, it's like, oh, they got a sponsorship, so it didn't amount to much in terms of like, I'm curious to see if it comes back in future episodes or seasons. But it's like, okay, they've got logos on some of their stuff now, and Huckleberry has some very nice guns out of nowhere.
And see, I love the idea of like someone going for their season going, yeah, you now have a sponsorship to Jared's Big Gun Emporium. So you need to mention Jared's Big Gun Emporium at least once a session.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of like it, and John Dies the End, the same thing with Mountain Monsters. They should be slightly humorous.
Yes. Now,
I will say John Dies the End, people die and they die fucking horribly. Because like these parasites that are in that book I just read, what the hell did I just read? They are keeping people alive but slowly eating them. So like they're talking to someone who's a child and they see it as like a giant maggot who has literally attached itself to the mother's head and has eaten half of her face, yet she's still functional and she has no idea. Yeah, brought to you by Old Smoky Moonshine.
There's a cutaway in season 2, where they do their little interview deals during the course of the investigation or whatever. And I can't remember if it's in relation to the rogue team or the Bigfoot, but it cuts to Huckleberry and he's like, they're about to find out why I'm banned from 3 states and 2 county fairs. It goes back to whatever they're doing.
See, I think that's like real life. It doesn't even have to be like a scene or anything. It can literally be like, what is the real life thing about your character that's going to be revealed?
The testimonial,
yeah. Testimonial would be, you could call it testimonial and then just sprinkle it in, everywhere. But I love that idea because I think the format of the show lends itself to something dumb like this.
Oh yeah.
And then keeping that game at like 2 hours.
Yes.
It doesn't need to be longer if you're doing seasons. It's like, oh, you got a plot point you want to keep running with? That's fine. We'll do it in 2 episodes.
Yeah.
But I think, keeping it like smushed tightly. And John Dies the End, I think is like a 4-hour a session game, 3-hour session a game. You could do like a long full day and do 3 stories, which would be more like 3 things that interconnect. It's like a book. But that's more of a there is an investigative point in those books, but it's usually like them driving around and talking to other fuck ups, which isn't that much different than Mountain Monsters.
No.
Shoeless Teddy out in the middle of fucking bumfuck. I don't wear shoes. I don't get sick. I don't believe in socks.
Yeah, all I take is aspirin.
All I take is aspirin. Aspirin.
It was aspirin, coffee, and some brand of chewing tobacco.
Yeah. Over here in Ohio, I
yes,
love
there was in one of the more recent episodes, there was a farmer named Radish.
I was complaining to Doug. I was like, after we got past Shoeless Teddy or whatever his name was.
Shoeless Terry, yeah.
Shoeless Terry. We went through like 4 episodes with no people with
fucking
weird names.
Weirdos, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, what the fuck is this? This is bullshit. Like, where are my weirdos? Where are my weirdos at?
They space the weirdos out a little bit more, or they're weirdos in more subtle ways.
Yeah, all of them are weirdos to a degree. Like Concrete Person is definitely a weirdo.
You get a weird brother sister thing.
I just love how Trapper's like, I bet he don't even own a gun. He's what we like to call out in the woods, Concrete Person. I was like, that sounds like some racist ass class.
Yeah, that's
damn fucking Trapper.
Yeah, I have yet to see anybody of any other ethnicity in the show. Oh no, wait. At one point, Bigfoot's
the person who's like, hey,
No.
we're inclusive here.
Bigfoot
Fuck you guys, I'm inclusive.
Bigfoot steals or like drags off one of the sound guys, Pablo, who is apparently apparently Chilean, and they have to find Pablo.
You mean Bigfoot rescues Pablo?
Emancipates Pablo.
It gets a little awkward because it like, oh, I heard you speaking Spanish. I haven't heard you do that in a while, and it's like,
okay. I think one of the things also we need to clarify is this game about a show that is bullshit, or is it about a bunch of yokels who are actually dealing with some for real ass shit. Because I think that also walks the line.
It does. And they talk about it on the podcast a little bit, where it's like, I'm not sure so-and-so realizes this isn't real. And I think they all do in the course of real life, of course, but it feels like
in the moment, I don't think they do.
Like you could go either way.
They're just role playing so fucking hard.
Yeah. It's when you went out in the woods with your friends, and we're just like, look, there's whatever, we gotta get it, and then everybody was just like, all right, I guess that's what we're doing, and then you all play off each other.
Yeah, and I think it's getting across, like figuring out, like, is this a game that we're running that is got actual elements of cryptid horror in it, or is it just like all make believe? Like is it all make believe like Worldwide Wrestling is? Because that's another PBTA game where they basically tell you like wrestling is not real.
Yeah, I feel like
so the game like is got no game master, because when you run a match, you have to work together.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's like you're trying to get you're trying to increase your prestige. If you have a shit match, it's not helping either one of you.
Within the fiction of the show, it is a show about a bunch of yokels who are actually dealing with some for real ass shit.
So I think that's that as people who are making this game or who are making this hack, we have to figure out, like, is that what we're going with? Is like the fiction is the reality? Because I like that more than I like the idea of like doing a fake reality show simulator.
Right. No, that's not.
Which also could be fun as fuck, but
I mean, if you were gonna do something like that, it would need to be like you could do that, but it's like if I was gonna do something like that, I would want it to be, because there's a story there in like, oh, here's some fake ghost hunters, and they know this is all bullshit. What happens when they actually run into the supernatural for real?
There was a movie, I think you watched it too, Colin. There was like a horror comedy that came out a couple years ago about a guy who like got shown that he was such a fraud, and he decided to do a stream from inside an actual haunted house.
Deadstream. I love it. It's wonderful.
It was pretty good. It's very low budget, but it's like, yeah, there's real stuff here. And he's like, oh no. That I could see, but I like the idea, like from the beginning, that these mountain folk are like, yeah, no, this shit is all real. Like,
right.
I think that'd be the best way to play it, for sure.
Right.
Like within the reality of the show.
Maybe
they're just bad at it.
I mean, maybe having a background that someone could play as a character where they're like, it's producer.
Yeah.
Where you're a part of the show that you're like, this is all fucking fake. And then you have to realize the fact that, oh no, it's not. Oh no.
Yeah.
Like, or like, guest expert, you'd have a proper British gentleman talking with hill people. But I think that it sounds like that's kind of the direction
I think it's better to take it as the fiction of the show. That's more interesting and entertaining to me.
You could set
because
the
you're
up.
avoiding that's like the one piece of it that gets a little like uncomfortable at times, where it's like, oh, here's somebody who has like, because I listened to the most recent episode again. It's like, yeah, they found somebody with a cow with a legitimate like health issue and built their episode around it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
here's 8 dead coyotes.
Right.
Yeah.
And well, I think it was
Here's
one.
some dead pigs.
Found. Yeah.
They just moved it around and just posed it differently.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, they're literally using an animal. Because they do not have the budget.
Oh no. Yeah, or even just the weird like unreality of like, well, okay, yeah, Trapper's a real. I'm sure they're just going to be like, yeah, Trapper got sick and died, but it could just as easily have been, oh, Trapper got killed by a Bigfoot,
or Trapper got Bigfoot flu.
Yeah, well, there's
or the evil team poisoned him.
There's the psychic Bigfoot. The psychic Bigfoot could probably just kill you with its mind.
You will not believe this, but so we used to play. We used to play shitty prize bingo. We used to get together with like 20 people at our house, and everyone would bring. First, it was at our apartment, and everyone would bring bad prizes. And someone brought Psychic Sasquatch book. We had that at our house for like 10 years before we donated it. And I was like, this is a real fucking thing.
Yeah. Oh no, Bigfoot lives the center of the earth, and
he's psychic.
He's
like Crustus from Masters of the Universe.
I mean, that like those episodes are a little like Buck actually acts really hard and well. Like you feel like, oh shit, this really messed up this man.
Oh, when he falls because he looked at Mothman.
No, when he gets psychically.
Because that dominated. Also was a excellent like Ric Flair flop.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's freaking.
Although fuck you, Ric Flair.
Willie and Jeff fall down a hole at one point. They crash the side by side. It's like for a while.
No Billy golf cart.
The thing I love about Buck's fall is I realized after they replay it like 6 times, I looked at Doug and I go, he doesn't have to fall very far. The guy's got to be like 5'5". He's as wide as he is tall.
Yeah.
He's a squat.
Who's dejectedly. All right. So last thing I want to talk about, I feel like we've got a good handle on these two things. We'll just have to start picking episodes. I'm going to work on these. Star Wars starts Monday.
Yeah.
Are you guys both in it?
I'm not this week because I got.
Oh, that's right, Matt. You had to bail.
I did, sadly.
No, it's understood. You had to like pick Danny up, right?
Yes, but I am. I will be curious to see and hear how it goes because you've been doing a great job with that your whole Star Wars universe.
So I'm just going to kind of throw this out there. Things you want to see. Like things that you're like, oh, in Star Wars, whether it's Legends or whether it's whatever, where I'm like, I love this. Like, this is my jam.
Right.
I'm something I know this isn't everyone's thing, but like one of my favorite things in Star Wars, and it's now Legends now, is all the Ulaqueldroma and like the Naomi Sunrider and the Beast Riders and all that stuff. Like
like the old Republic.
Yeah, I love that stuff, man.
Because I will say,
although High Republic's great too, I'm really getting into that. Even though
in our Extra Life game, we hardcore referenced the High Republic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was loving that. I love that you really got in. I've been putting more of that in there because I think the lore, even though the stories are kind of hit and miss at this point for what they're putting out there, the lore they've created in the world of that time period is awesome. Awesome. I really like it. Especially that Wookiee Jedi, Buryaga, I think his name is. He's great. He's wonderful.
All right. So also...
but also, you know what? More... I don't know. Nah. Yeah, I guess older... Yes, just getting out of like... I guess what is kind of the more contemporary eras, I guess.
Well, our entirety of our Star Wars stuff takes place at the beginning of like 9 BBY.
Yeah.
So we're in in the thicket of the Empire being at its height.
Yeah.
Rank Orsu on that. So.
Rank Orsu. Ooh, I'd watch that.
So other things you guys want to see or don't want to see. And Spike, you too. Things where you're like, man, I'm done with the Skywalkers. I don't need to see any more Skywalker shit. Mitch!
I've always been really fascinated with all the shit that Kenner cooked up as like a sequel to, like, they're like, well, if you're not going to do more movies, George, we're going to just make up more stories so we can sell toys. And
I would love to see some more of that.
Dash
because
Rendar.
that was across the spectrum. Like everybody was involved in that.
Yeah, that's great.
So if you have anything, Matt,
I dropped the Wikipedia link in Messenger.
Cool.
And
Yeah,
that goes into
I would love to. I also, that's an area that I have a complete blind spot to.
Well, they were like, well, if you're not going to do this and tell people what the, like the Clone Wars are and all this stuff, is like, we're going to just come up with our own stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. There was an article on it in whatever the Star Wars, magazine was at the time. And that was where my first exposure to it. I'm like, oh, this is super interesting.
Yeah, I love, like, and this is something I stole especially for Thunderous Applause. I used 3 races that I think are only in the West End game stuff. Like the Tunroth are not in any Star Wars shit. Now I guess they've been in some comics since.
Okay.
Yeah. And that they've built off the idea that the Tunroth ended up with the Empire because a nearby race of basically humans decided to do a holy crusade and murder everybody from that race on their planet. And the Empire had to step in and go, no, you're not doing this. So the Tunroth, the vast majority of Tunroth, then were like pro-Empire because the Empire kept them from being ethnically cleansed.
Yeah, that'll do it.
And that's in the comics. I think that was in some Dark Horse stuff, maybe. I don't think it was in the
Dark
Marvel
Horse
stuff.
had such good.
Yeah,
I loved their reign on Star Wars, man. They were what was it? Dark Empire 1 and 2.
All right, man.
No, there's a third one.
We did not a pod race. We did a swoop bike race.
We did
in Scum and Villainy, where at points the track shot out into space itself for like brief moments back into these tubes. So yeah, it was pretty good. I highly recommend listening to that.
You know what could be really cool is doing a game set in like really old school Mandalore culture.
Like I said, I want to stay in where we're at now.
Yeah.
But I do love the idea of, and I will put it down, exploring Mandalorian history.
Yeah,
because I know in Eula Quadroma's thing, like there's a whole part in that Beast Riders War, where like Mandalore gets dropped on a planet full of like these monsters. He ends up dying, and another Mandalorian picks his helmet up, puts it on, as the new Mandalore. Like they actually show you that, and it's like, oh, that's real fucking cool,
Yeah, and I know it's not canon anymore, but I just started playing again through Knights of the Old Republic, and when you hit the Mandalorian stuff in there, oh, so fun.
So is which one is that? Is that the multiplayer one? Because I've been dying.
The single player.
So I have, and I picked all these up, and I know you guys can like, oh, there's been Steam again.
But yeah, I would love to jump on.
I think it's Old Republic, maybe. Yeah, it's the Old Republic. This is a multiplayer.
That's a good one. Yeah,
I would love to get some folks and do some of this.
I would.
I think it might be free.
Okay, I used to play it way back in the day, and I had a blast with it.
It's free to play. You just got to download it.
All right, yeah, I'm going to download it right now.
It's big. I will say that it's a big fucking file.
Bigger the better.
I was also going to point something else out in here, and now I totally did. I say totally? I totally forgot. Oh, I also want to do this if it's multiplayer. I don't know if anyone's fully aware of the insanity that is. I think it's Wrestling Empire. It's either Wrestling Empire or it's Wrestling Revolution 3D. It's one of these two games.
Oh yeah, no, I think it.
Go look up.
Janky.
It's not just even janky. It's just insane. Polygon Wrestling Empire. Yes. So Pat from Polygon, I can never remember Pat's last name. He did a 17-minute long thing about this where he talked about his playthroughs. I'm going to put it in the public chat. What did you say, Mitch? All Force users with unique expressions of the Force. I like that a lot too. We kind of did that a little bit during Extra Life. I would love for people to more personalize that. Like Beard used telekinesis constantly.
Yeah.
I wished he would have and I did not push him on this, so it's as much me as it is him. Like we do with you can personalize spells in D&D. Like my niece had her magic missile were tiny purple butterflies that always found you because magic missile does not miss. So yeah, you can run around that corner, but then the butterflies are going to get you. In her armor, she was like, "Well, I have a helmet, and it's a hide helmet." And this is like when she was 13, I think, 13 or even younger. My helmet is actually made from a giant walnut shell. It just has leather as its stat. And I was like, God damn, I wish I thought more on that level sometimes. Because that's really cool. Or we played in a Beyond the Wall game for a long time, actually podcast that Zach ran. And my character was part of these three sisters, and she wore porcelain armor. But it was magical. So it was like regular armor, but it was made of porcelain. And the reason was I found it and we used it because the ooze we were dealing with could not eat through porcelain. So I had this armor that looked like grandma's old fancy dinnerware, but was just like regular armor. It was just made of magical porcelain. And I was like, why don't we do more of that in our games? Where we're just like, okay, the stat or the base might say, chainmail, but the chainmail can be made of anything. Like Warrior did this in Down Outlands when we started. His chainmail was all made of coins. Because his character initially had no idea about money, because his tribe was like, money is useless. These are just coins. We could melt them down into other things. So they built armor out of it. Okay, so back to things. I'm gonna put that down, Mitch. I like that. Pushing players to do more unique expressions of their force abilities when playing force wielders. That's another thing I really wanted. I think I just misspelled wielders, but I don't give a shit. I'll fix it. Was giving everybody, by doing that game, everybody who played it now as a Jedi. Because in our regular games, both in Scum and Villainy and in the Matron games, Shannon's games, they were all just smugglers or bounty hunters, or no one was playing any Jedi. Mark had a character who was force sensitive. But I mean, I think, Matt, you're the only person that's played in both those groups. You are the only person who's played in both those groups.
Oh, wow. Huh.
Which gives you yet another character you can pluck from if you decide to do that. I like the idea of it's troop style play. So all of those characters are available. It's almost like a pick a character at the beginning of a fighting game.
Right.
That would be fun to do. Is like do a Sith game.
I think maybe as a mini series. I've only had
not like a big.
I've only had one evil game that lasted any length of time, and it lasted for like 2.5, 3 years for D&D. And the reason why it did is all the players agreed very early we're not going to fuck one another over. Until we get powerful enough where we all get what we want. At that point, all bets are off. But that's going to be a while. So until then, one of the characters basically, wanted to proselytize their god. Another one of the characters was like, I want to be a god. So kind of fuck your god. But they also realized like, I can't exactly do that because I need you. So we made sure like there was a built-in, while we was D&D, we almost used a PBTA, idea of like, why are you even together? What's the point of you being together? And they slowly but surely were like, with the Sith, I think especially during the era of like the Sith Empire and prior to the Rule of Two, that would be a very interesting like 3-part game to run. But at the same time, it's like, why are they together? They all should at some point be looking to backstab each other to social climb.
Right.
And if it's the Rule of Two,
what if you did like
then you got your own
bunch of like, not necessarily Sith, but maybe like dark side like adepts.
Yep,
who
are
just
cultists.
too much of a problem and are like maybe imprisoned by the Empire, and they have to work together to break out. Then you do an Andor crossover. What?
Which I've used a dark side cult now a couple times.
I think
that's something that someone could decide. Like, I want to play someone who's a dark side cultist.
Yeah, we haven't seen any Inquisitors yet in your stuff either.
We saw one in the Matron game. That's where Alari Marin got Alari Marin's rep. She literally, with all of her diplomacy, talked an Inquisitor into questioning their life choices, and then they fucking just blew him up because he did cut off the Matron's arm. He fucked up everybody, and then John Maddening, who was the player of Alari Marin, was like, basically he's like, I'm putting everything I have into my diplomacy. And he's like, I'm doing everything I have in this role, and he like maxed out his role, and I didn't have any ability to shift it around at all.
Right.
So the Inquisitor was like, what have I been doing? I was a Jedi. What have I done? Like, where are my morals? I told them afterwards, if you guys wouldn't have killed him, he may have went with you. He may have been like, I do need to redeem myself.
Yeah.
But they were just like, no, as soon as he turns off that lightsaber and goes passive, like, we're going to give him everything we have. And they all rolled well. So there was nothing else to do. Also, it was like 6-on-1. So, but yeah, I kind of feel like Inquisitors out there, or the Knights of Ren, which we now have a backstory to in the comics, where they were like, they were like a Sith cult.
Yeah.
I find them very interesting. I've used what is that robot? The something of Badoom, like the robot pirates of Badoom or something like that. I've used
you're thinking of Ochi of Bastoon.
But like, there's a whole group of them, like the robot pirates of Bastoon.
But you're thinking of the Droid Crush.
Droid Crush of Bastoon, yes. I've used them.
Bastoon. Oh, that's such a great name too.
So I want to use like those deep cut things where we're really lucky, like Matt said, in Kenner sequel material, in comic books, that we've got all this rich extra tapestry that isn't a part of the primary Skywalker stuff, or now the primary like Mandalorian stuff or the Rebel stuff, where, like, I love Saw Gerrera, not as like a moralistic character, but just as a character.
Right.
I love that Saw was running around and be like, by fucking any means necessary, It don't matter. I love that idea that there were people in like before the rebellion proper forms who were literally just fucking terrorists.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then Saw during Andor.
I like those shades of gray.
Yeah, Saw drops a plethora of names of organizations that are like against the Empire when he and Luthen are talking.
Yeah.
I love the idea that, I mean, because I can't think of another time in Star Wars lore where we've heard a bunch of those names.
No, I think a lot of those were new, or they're deep cut references to stuff.
And I've also, I've deep cut and used Ron Kodal.
Yep.
Who I don't even know if he's actually canon or not.
I think I think his name showed up in Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I love like the Starkiller stuff.
The name is out there, but whether the character is anything like the character that we've seen.
Yeah. I think everyone who's listened to anything I've been on knows I absolutely love Kyle Katarn.
Katarn's cool.
I love those terrible FMV video things from all those games.
I'm bummed we're still in that kind of pre-Empire phase for most of this or early Empire, because one of the things, and they kind of dropped them in the comics too. But Sergeant Creel, really, that character.
Sergeant Creel.
He was initially like undercover in the gladiator pits on Narshada, and then but it turned out he was with the Empire the whole time. He's the stormtrooper with a lightsaber, and he's got that squad of like stormtroopers.
I don't know this guy.
Yeah, it's basically like it's like an Empire version of the Bad Batch, sort of. But
fuck yeah, that sounds amazing.
Sergeant Creel is I can't remember what they're called. They showed up a few times in the comic, and then I think once Kieran Gillen left, they kind of went away. Let's see.
Is there anything you guys don't want to see? I know that there is like I've seen pictures of like the art of Darth Vader and a group of clones a group of stormtroopers who do look a lot like the Bad Batch.
Yeah, I gotta find their group here.
Is there anything you guys don't want to see where you're thinking about Star Wars? You're like, you know what, this is played out. I don't really need this in my Star Wars game. Stay away from this trope, or stay away from this like part of the canon or legends, because it doesn't really do anything for me.
I guess, outside of just saying like, obviously like the Skywalker saga, kind of that familial stuff, like, because I feel like that's been really kind of played enough, and like, I don't know. I was even kind of like when in The Mandalorian, when, spoiler, sorry everyone if you haven't seen it, but when like Luke shows up, like I would have so much that to have been like Kyle Katarn or some, give us, oh man.
Well, they were, or even just like, oh, here's Kit Fisto, like they or no Plo Koon.
Yeah, I love Plo Koon.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Yeah, here's Mace Windu. He survived. He's got a cool robot hand now and shit. Like, do something like that. Like, here's Luke. Okay, yay. Wet blanket Luke. All right. Not that Luke's the worst. I like Luke a lot. But...
Yeah, I sent you a link to their apparently it's their what are they called now? Task Force 99. Also known as Scar Squadron. So it is very much like, okay, well, let's make our own.
Oh, yeah.
And they haven't, I mean, other than Sergeant Creel, and the trick with them is all that force doesn't exist in canon until like after A New Hope.
Oh, it doesn't?
No.
Scar Squadron. That's
one thing you could say though is that it did.
You could. And Creel was around before that.
Do you know how to spell that?
Kreel.
EEL.
So almost like Crusher Creel.
Yes.
Green lightsaber. Do we know who we got it off of?
I don't know if we do.
Ooh. Handpicked by Darth Vader, all these guys. That's cool. Man, I need to get back into the new Star Wars comics. Like I got into them when
I've
they
just
first
been reading them all on Unlimited. So
I've been trying to pick up trades. I just haven't started.
Because there's some great characters in there, like Dr. Afra or Afra.
Yeah.
I don't know. She's
Afra's
fantastic. Great. Or my man, Black Chrysanthemum. Love him.
Mm-hmm.
Love him.
He's that fist fight with Obi-Wan.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't know where he got his saber from. And he was a way for them to like explain how Luke got actually decent with the saber before meeting Yoda.
Do we want to stay away from named characters that we are like very familiar with? Do we want to stay away from like injecting Jedi who we're pretty sure got killed and
yeah, I mean, I feel like there's enough existing Jedi out there. I don't feel like it's a bad idea to like be like, oh yeah, here's a Jedi. I'm not huge on the Jedi stuff, or at least it seems like they're giving that a lot of attention. But to, you know, like, oh, let's resurrect some. Well, we'll have some more named characters that we're pretty sure are dead. Like,
because I've used Barris Ophi,
unless there's a really good story reason for it,
or tried to use that character to sidekick with her.
Yeah, I don't want to see any. Like, I don't think there's a need to create any new Jedi at this point.
Again, Matt, do you remember that?
I do.
Unless you do something, I say, like maybe along the lines, if you're gonna create someone new, make them like super duper underpowered, like a Cal Kestis at the beginning of his journey. You know, someone who I was maybe a Padawan and I got away from that shit, but like
currently there is one Jedi with the Scum and Villainy group.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But they are also kind of giving up being a Jedi. But you know, I had that weird idea and I wanted to make sure it got in somewhere. I feel like it's fit in pretty well.
One thing that I've liked from the Dr. Afra book of late is the idea of the Ascendant. And they were a group that I think I'm gonna have to look them up again, but I can't remember. I think they were anti-Sith, and were basically duplicated a bunch of force powers. Yeah, they're anti-Sith, but they're aligned with the dark side. And they worked to basically duplicate force powers using technology.
Oh, I really like that.
So they would have the thought dowser. That was a device that would like amplify your thoughts to control others. They had a bunch of like kind of like the I can't remember his fucking name now. In Obi-Wan.
I know you. What's his? God damn it!
Yeah, I'm totally blanking.
The
actor's name. Anyway, right? But the guy who was basically pretending to be a Jedi using parlor, you know, like magic tricks, essentially. But their shit actually works. Like it does what it says. It's just doing it via technological means.
Okay.
So like they can you know move you around.
Yeah.
Yes. But they're doing it with, you know, magnets or, you know, other stuff
like
that.
As we all know, magnets, what do they do?
How do they work?
How do they work? God. Let's not start that because then I want to make a Juggalo RPG.
ICP's on the case. Don't worry, everybody.
That might be a background we have in Mountain Monsters. recovering
Juggalos, yeah. The Gathering.
Just Juggalo, straight up Juggalo. So far we've got a lot of stuff we want to see, which I'm down with. Is there stuff you don't want to see?
I was gonna say, now that you got me thinking about it, I think Buck I can see Buck as being down with the clown.
Oh yeah, come on.
The rest of that crew is too old.
He's got a big old Hatchet Man tattoo somewhere.
Yeah, come on. It's probably on the back of his calf.
That's what I was gonna say, on his leg. Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. There might
yeah.
even be an episode where he runs into a bunch of juggalos and they're gonna have to whoop it up,
Yeah.
and he'll have to be the intermediary between the two groups.
He touches the ground, licks his fingers. He goes, "That's Fago. I know that anywhere. There's Fago here in this town."
That's Juggalo piss. That's about 60% Fago.
I've tasted this before.
Oh, they done pissed.
What don't I want to see?
Chat, as always, you are also involved in this.
I guess there's not a lot that I don't, other than what's already there.
Yeah.
What about like other named characters, like bounty hunters and things like that?
Again, I think as long as you're doing it in a way, that's
there could be fun with like running into like Dengar or something like that,
Yeah, as long as it's organic to the story, I don't think it's like.
So also like saying, if using pre-existing,
don't use the heavy hitters.
Characters keep to the C and lower.
Yeah,
you can just do more with them. It's like if you're gonna have Vader show up, it should be because you want the team to run or die.
Yeah.
yeah. Like you. Yeah, like, and don't even have them be
like I used in the Matron game, the first trilogy. I used Moff Tracta, and I was like, oh, he just fucking looks cool.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'll use that guy. But we used him for a trilogy, and that was it. We moved right on.
Yeah,
like
if you're
he turned out to be the guy who had put that team together because he wanted to embarrass another Moff. Which I was like, oh, that, to me, when I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, this works because it would be like fucking over a political opponent to get more clout with the Emperor.
Mm-hmm.
Which we've realized
all about
in Star Wars comics happens far more often than we were led to believe. Sly Moore.
Well, just even the season 1 of Andor, you see that so beautifully at that bureaucratic backbiting. It's just so it's like, and just trying to outmaneuver each other, and just even though they're on the same side, they are willing to bury each other at a moment's notice.
Oh hell yeah! Any tropes, any like storytelling tropes you want me to be like, don't do that. Don't I don't need to do a Star Wars A-Team. Please don't do that.
No, I don't think so. Because again, it's all in the context. Like everything's a trope.
That's true.
Yeah,
It's all about knowing, when to twist and how to put an interesting spin on shit. Well, I think you're good at that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's tropes are well worn for reasons because they work. It's just can you give it the oomph it needs to land well, or is it just going to be like, I've seen that and okay? But I don't think there's anything we need to really stay away from, because there could be a ton of fun having a team Star Wars game. Why not?
Don't we already have that? That's the Bad Batch.
Yeah, but I mean, like, we always need more Bad Batches out there. I mean, that's a Scar troop or whatever with Sergeant Creel, or like,
they're just evil 18.
Just give it a little flavor. Yeah, there you go. Just give it that little twist. Put a little ass into it.
Put a little ass into it, Buck.
Yeah, Buck. Put a little ass into it.
I think this was a really crazy productive, even though we didn't do a lot of actual building.
We're doing a lot of structure work, I feel like.
Yeah, this has been like one of the better brainstorming sessions I think we've had in a while. So I'll put this in the prep school folder on Dropbox. I think you both have access to that.
For the John dies at the end game. The name. Don't touch the soy sauce.
I thought about something with soy sauce in it, but I also thought about like being meta and talking about the dice.
Ooh, yeah, that would serve more. They're so
those
whole series.
These dice are not the boss of me.
Yeah.
And mountain monsters, I that's another we got to figure out a cool name for too.
Or
Yeah.
the dice rolls me.
To dice rolls everything around me. Dream.
The dream, get the money.
Get the monies.
Mountain monsters.
But this is something you guys can brainstorm on in your spare time. And we can try to figure something
Yes.
Maybe we call it just like Ames.
out. Oh God, that is a really good idea. What is
And then we get it out to the guys.
Appalachian Investigation
Monster something.
Society?
Squadron?
I don't know.
Because I just think
Oh,
Monster
like I was
Society.
looking at that.
God damn. Okay, yeah. No, we've got
Ames Community College. No, that's not what I want.
community college. It's Appalachian Monster Community College. All right, where can people find you too? Because I've kept you for almost 2 hours. I feel guilty.
Appalachian Investigators of Mysterious Sightings.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, but anyways, plugs. You can find me hanging around here Tuesdays and Thursdays. Either Tuesdays Meng on Meng, Thursdays.
This is a Meng on Meng week.
This is Meng on Meng week. Okay.
Yeah. Which I'll give you.
I'm going to show off.
I'll give you a preview.
Oh. Yeah.
Filmation Beast, man.
Yeah.
This is one of the best goddamn figures I've gotten in a super long time. I am not a fan of Filmation He-Man, but goddamn, that's a pretty figure. I'm just like, holy shit, is that perfect? That head might be the best He-Man head we've gotten so far in any of the lines.
Wow.
So the post-classic lines. And this Beastman fucking baller.
For Meng on Meng, I'll be showing off some of the new acquisitions I got. Acquisitions, I'll call them. From Bricks and Minifigs. I got some really cool
you went out like
Jago stuff and
minifig place. You went out to that minifig place.
It was awesome. It was great.
Next time you do that, you should ask them if you can just record something and just we'll put it on. If like
I definitely next time when it was packed to the gills. Like it was crazy. But I'll say if you're a Lego person at all, head there. They put the Lego store to shame. I really think so. The staff were amazing. They were so nice. Big shout out to Bricks and Minifigs in Minnetonka. And I was talking to the owner, and they're going to be opening actually 3 more stores
right now
within the metro in the next year. So Roseville, I think Egan, and I can't remember where else. But yeah, so they're growing up big, blowing up hot. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm mixing everything around. But yeah, Meng on Meng. Spoopy Boys, always you can usually catch me here in prep school if I'm not, being held hostage by my daughter. And if you've seen her, you know what that's like. You've seen Theory, that is Maeve. Otherwise, hit me up, Creepin' Colin on most of my socials and stuff like that, game things and whatnot. Yeah, all right, that's me. Who's next?
You can find me here most Sundays. You can find me on the Dave Wonder channel. Perhaps later today, he's doing his big marathon stream, so stop by over there, donate more Extra Life.
Yeah, I was gonna say Dave is doing a separate donation thing this year. So I mean, he's his own team, which as long as money's going to Extra Life, I could give a shit. Make sure donate.
Yeah, please, if you can.
I won't be there this Tuesday because I've got some other stuff, and I think Dave's probably going to need a couple days to recover. He was flagging this morning. So yeah, but that's where you can usually find me. And then I'm around on the United channels for prep school and other stuff as it comes up. Now that I've got Zomboid, I'll have to clear my schedule a little bit and do a bat at games or something here. And
my big group Zomboid. I haven't.
Matt, you also need to get Bigfoot because Colin, Doug, and I played Bigfoot together, and when someone gets to play as Bigfoot, it's amazing.
It takes it to a whole other level. So
especially when you shoot Bigfoot with a flare gun It's the best.
It gives me anxiety. No, it's not.
It's amazing.
Especially when it comes out of nowhere and just terrifies me.
Yeah, it's great. It's really, really fun. I don't think it's too expensive either. I think it's pretty reasonable.
Right.
No, I think it was like $20, baby.
I can look really quick. Also, I know Colin's going to get the Old Republic games. We can play it together.
Just did.
I would say also pick up Friday the 13th, the game, which is basically Bigfoot, but with Jason, because someone gets to play as Jason, because we want to get a group of people to play that. Any of those games were like, it's everyone versus one, where the one is also fucking terrifying, because Bigfoot is tough as hell. It is $20 right now. Unfortunately. It'll go down. I think it was real cheap a couple weeks ago. It's also still in early access, so it's going to keep getting better, which I love early access games. I would say Friday the 13th. Let me see what it's running right now. I would get it sooner rather than later because I think it's like
$4.
Yeah, with all the litigation, it might be going away.
Yeah. And when that happens, we'll have to jump into I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's a fun time. If that goes down,
Friday 13th is $5.
Oh.
Okay.
And the DLC is $6.
Later, Mitch. Good seeing you, buddy.
Mitch, get some rest, bud.
You showing up.
Yeah, thank you, Mitch, very much.
Mitch was on when I jumped on the marathon this morning, and they were also very, very tired.
Yeah.
But Dave did
trust each other.
Let them pep up a little bit by letting Mitch go on an anti-AI rant, as we know that is very, very personal for Mitch. So I think that helped them reinvigorate a little bit. But hopefully they managed to get some sleep.
I hope so. So yeah, those games I would also recommend, just because we can play them that way. It'll be fun. Sure. So maybe we'll be able to get Matthew into a couple more things. Also, negligent, since we're talking about it, to look at a couple other free games like the D&D online game. I can't remember what it's called now. It's Dungeons and Dragons Online. It's free. And so is DC Universe Online. I still want to get a bunch of people together and play bad, shitty supervillains.
I'm down with that.
Yeah, I think that'd be super fun. Anyway, Matthew. Oh yeah, I forgot about myself.
Yes, where are you? Who
tomorrow, Star Wars, Scum Villainy, 7
what
p.m.
you are, who you be with.
Central, who you be with? The 14th, Mang on Mang. And then it should be relatively quiet. Cassandra's birthday is on the 17th. If you know her,
yay!
You can find her online. Tell her happy birthday. And then we will be back as a triumphant. Good Lord, I can't talk. I'm glad this is over because I'm struggling. On the 19th for prep school. What do we want to talk about on prep school on the 19th? Do we want to pick one of these things to dig in deep on?
I mean, I if we wanted to start chipping away at Mountain Monsters, I'd definitely be into that. So
Mountain Monsters is next
unless
Monday.
Colin can't make it, in which case we'll table it. But
I'll
just let us know. We can always push around, but I want to make sure that you're there.
We'll let Doug know too. So Doug, because Doug might.
Yeah. I want to get like this is the love that we have for Mountain Monsters is real and it's pure.
Yes.
And I want to encourage and
burning
advantage that
love. And then next Monday is Chaos Gar, which I think I've got 2 slots open for still. I don't know. Are we doing Spoopy Boys on the 23rd? It's Thanksgiving. I can do it because I'm not doing anything till that weekend.
I can. If you want to do a Spooky Thanksgiving, we could do that.
What are we doing? Not to put
Oh,
you directly on the spotlight, but what are we doing? We'll do a short one, but so we just pick one movie.
Yeah, one movie. Should we talk about in full where When Evil Lurks?
I'm down to talk about that.
Because that movie has been like
did it scar you emotionally?
Yeah. Oh yeah. When I saw the woman carrying her dead kid around and eating his brain like jelly beans.
Little rough.
Yeah. Little rough. Little rough as a parent.
When it says on the very cover, "Don't pray to God because He doesn't care," gives you a good feeling about what you're getting yourself into.
Oh yeah. No, what a fantastically grim, depressing, but also like sublimely wonderful for a horrific setting that world is. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So 23rd, When Evil Lurks. We'll do that.
And then Bad at Games on the 24th. I don't know. Does anyone have anything go? I might cancel it unless I can get a couple people.
That might be tough for me to do. I might be. Yeah, I think I won't have access to my games for sure. Yeah.
Matt,
let me know what you're thinking. I don't know. I don't know yet if I've got anything going on that day. But
let me know if you got some. If you have it open first. And I want to point out I picked up a game that's multiplayer called Blood and Bacon, and the cover looks like a 1970s movie. It is a white guy and a black guy standing back to back, with tons of bones around them and giant feral hogs. The black guy's got a fro and he's shooting a shotgun. The white guy's shooting an AK in the air. And apparently, not my style of game because it is like a first-person shooter, but apparently it's killing feral hogs, like mutated feral hogs. And I'm kind of all about that. I'm kind of all about this shitty 70s schlock vibe going on.
Oh yeah.
It looks insane. I picked it up because it was like deep on sale. Oh shit, it's 99 cents right now. And it's overwhelmingly positive. And apparently I can play it in third person, which I'm going to enjoy. But I'm watching a little thing where there's a ton of feral hogs that are skeletons. They just got electrocuted, and the person just unloading into them with an AK. This also might be a game we should play together as Blood and Bacon. That's a giant feral hog spitting blood everywhere. This game looks ridiculous. So yeah, that might be another one we have to play soon.
Okay.
Same thing with Vermintide.
That's fun. You're just slaying rats.
Yeah, Vermintide, which I think I might have another Warhammer fantasy game like that. I have Vermintide 2, excuse me. But I don't have like Darktide. I know you guys are playing the hell out of Darktide right now. But still like Battlefront. I still have Battlefront 2. I want to get together and play and be a squad of clone troopers and go kill dirty bugs. So yeah, we'll figure out whether or not we have people next Friday or not, and if we do, or 2 Fridays, I guess. And if we do, we'll play something stupid and fun. Also, I'd recommend if you guys want to get on that action with Casual Doug, Dota 2 is free to play. I am terrible at it, but I have a super fun time playing it. It's a MOBA, and I'm real bad at it. I do thoroughly.
Well, if you're bad at it, I'll get it too because I'm terrible at it. And I was like, oh, I don't want to hold them up. But if you're bad at it as well, I'll jump on because I'm trash at that game. But
Horror Legends, which is apparently done by Full Moon.
No.
There's a subspecies DLC. That's right. I'm hitting you right where it's called Horror Legends. It's $5. I picked it up. It is literally a Full Moon features game.
What?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This game looks dumb as fuck, and I am excited to play it with friends. I think I got it for like $2, maybe. And then there was a couple other ones I wanted to talk about. Like Strange Brigade, I got for like $5. It's $50 now. And it is basically Indiana Jones people versus monsters,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
especially mummies. But it's like $50 right now. So, I have Mordheim, City of the Damned, which I love that.
Oh, yeah.
I think that might be all I was going to throw at folks. But yeah, I would love to do something with those type of games. I think Mordheim might be super cheap as well, since it's an older game. Take a look since I got my Steam open. Mostly positive reviews. It is single player, unfortunately, is probably why I've never played it. Yeah. If it was multiplayer, I'd be all about that business. All right. So there, you know where you can find us. At some point, I'm gonna get someone to help me put a calendar up on Discord, because but thank you. Labyrinthine also I picked up. Richard was like, hey, this game rules, you should get it. And it was dirt cheap. It's $10 right now, but it very much has the Bigfoot, Phasmophobia, demonologist vibe, except this has puzzles, which also Phasmophobia. I'm not going to step on Richard and Shannon's touchdown call, but I've sworn that I will get it on a game with them. And demonologist is sort of like, I think it's maybe even by the same people. So anyway, Dead by Daylight, I also picked that up.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great game. Great game.
Yeah, I think you were telling me like, hey, you should pick this up. It's unfortunately $20 now, but it was it's I think I spent $50 during the Spoopy sale, and I got like 15 games. So
yeah,
and I love my Spoopy games.
That's a fun game.
So you know where you can find us. I want to say thank you again to everyone who tuned in, everyone who contributed. So Spike and Mitch, anyone who will contribute in the future. I look forward to tomorrow night. It should be a hell of a time. So thank you. Have a good rest of your weekend. Bye.